you, dear students of the first preparatory stage at the middle school. Let's start a new episode for the revision period throughout today's class. Let's start. As we get used every session, we have by the end of the episode to learn about the basic information covered throughout our curriculum, solve the questions correctly, gaining self-confidence to be ready for the exam. Question number 1 tells you that complete the following statements. The charge of which particle equals to the charge of which particles in magnitude but they are opposite in type. زي ما احنا عارفين في الatomic structure عندنا two different charges particles أو subatomic particles which are the protons and the electrons. They are equal in magnitude. يعني equal in magnitude يعني نفس number of protons should be equal to the same number of electrons in the same atom. But both of them they carry opposite charges. البروتونز عندها positive charge لكن electrons they carry a negative charge. Question number 2 tells you that who discovered the periodicity of elements properties is related to their atomic numbers. على طول نفتكر Moseley and his role in this discovery. Question number 3 tells you mixtures are divided into two types which are homogeneous and heterogeneous mixtures. Heterogeneous mixtures اتفقنا انه substances added or mixed together you can distinguish between each part of them and they are easily separated زي oil and water زي mixture أو components of the green salad أو green vegetables. لكن homogeneous mixtures they are visibly mixed together in a uniform structure ما بنبقاش قادرين نحدد فين components that were mixed. Question number 4 tells you the type of chemical bonding are زي ما احنا عارفين أخذنا في التوبكس بتاعتنا إن two types of bonding which are ionic and covalent depending طبعا on the nature of the elements bonded in that structure. Question number 5 tells you the weak electric charges are measured by device known by coulometer. Question number 6 the attraction force of the magnet is strongest at زي ما احنا عارفين ان المagnet كله عنده magnetic power أو force of magnetism to attract any magnetic material لكن أكتر area في المagnet بيكون عندها magnetic force concentrated بتكون at the two poles اللي هما north and south يبقى the poles of the magnet. Question number 7 tells you the weight of an object changes from one planet to another due to the change of خلينا نفتكر إن كل البلانets they have an amount of gravity لكن each planet has its own gravitational field intensity. Gravitational field intensity هي دي ال amount of gravity اللي بتكون محددة كمية ال gravitational force على كل planet. Question number 8 tells you the space is the basic unit in the structure and function in any organism which is the cell. Question number 9 is asking you bacteria is from what while humans is from what. Bacteria عايزين نفتكر على طول ان هي تبع البروكاريوتس اللي هي unicellular organisms that their DNA is just suspended into the cytoplasm without being enclosed into a nucleus or a true nuclear membrane لكن الhuman تبع الeukaryotes. Question number 10 is asking you what is the bacterial disease caused by a type of bacteria called Salmonella typhi. على طول typhi it's an indicator for typhoid disease وده الديزيز اللي بتسببه البكتيريا دي. Question number 11 tells you as Earth rotates around its axis in front of the Sun, day and night cycle occurs and also the apparent motion of the Sun. زي ما احنا متفقين إنه the Sun it appears during the day that it rotates in the sky from the east to the west during the sunrise and the sunset. لكن actually it's not true لأنه الأرث هي اللي بتعمل rotate around its axis and this is due to the apparent motion of the sun. Question number 12 is asking you when the moon is completely within the earth's penumbra the full moon phase appears as نفتكر مع بعض المون phases والفينومينا بتاعة lunar eclipse. اتفقنا إنه المون it appears as a red disk لما بيكون في الفيز أو في الفينومينا بتاعة total lunar eclipse. Let's transfer to another type of questions which is true or false. In the first question you are asked protons, neutrons and electrons are called subatomic particles. Yes, they are the subatomic particles in any atom whatsoever it's a solid, a liquid or even a gas. Question number 2 tells you the electron distribution of most metals end with 5 electrons. الكلام ده totally false لأنه اتفقنا إنه الميتالز they have less than 4 valence electrons in the last energy level. Non-metals they have more than 4 valence electrons in their last energy level. For number 5 it's not true at all. Question number 3 tells you elements are substances formed by the chemical combination of 2 more elements in fixed mass ratio. This is the definition of the compound, not an element. So the answer will be false. In question number 4, it tells you the combination in a sodium chloride is covalent bond. نفتكر مع بعض the 2 types of bonds which are ionic and covalent على حسب nature of the elements that are bonded. لما يبقى عندنا 2 atoms, one of them is a metal and another one is a non-metal, دي بتكون ionic bond. لكن البوند اللي بتتكون بين ال 2 atoms of 2 non-metals زي 2 gases like nitrogen and oxygen, carbon and oxygen, دي بتبقى covalent bond. فاحنا على طول من الكومباوند نشوف عندنا sodium and chlorine. Sodium is a metal, chlorine is a non-metal, يبقى sodium chloride is an ionic compound. والبوند اللي بتربط ما بين الصوديوم والكلورين is an ionic bond. يبقى الانسر بتاعتنا is false. Question number 5 tells you attraction may occur between an uncharged object and a charged object. الكلام ده totally right. Question number 6. When a single magnet is divided into several parts, each part not be as a magnet, even if it's broken, it keeps its magnetic properties and it acts as a magnet. يبقى being broken, it's gonna be يعني not affecting on the magnetic properties of the real magnet. Question number 7 tells you from an example of contact forces, the gravitational force. نفتكر مع بعض ال 2 types of forces into contact and non-contact forces. Contact forces where the force should be in a direct touch or in a direct contact with the body acting on it. لكن ال non-contact forces بتأثر على object without touching it or without being in a direct contact with it. زي magnetic force أو magnetism والgravitational force والelectrostatic force. يبقى for example of a contact force gravitational force الكلام ده مش مظبوط. يبقى the answer is false. Question number 8 tells you there are Golgi apparatus in both of the animal and the plant cells. This is true because some organelles exist in both of the plant and the animal cells. لكن في عندنا specific organelles موجودة بس في plant cells and they are not existing among the animal cell زي chloroplast أو green plastids and the great vacuole أو the large sap vacuole. Also the cell wall موجود بس في plant cell بس مش موجود في animal cell. Question number 9 tells you bacteria can be either autotrophs or heterotrophs. صح طبعا على حسب هي بتعمل الأكل بتاعها ازاي. Question number 10 green plants need oxygen to produce the proteins. زي ما افتكرنا إنه البروتينز it's a kind of food made up by the existence of nitrogen gas. يبقى مش الأكسجين gas خالص اللي مهم لل production of proteins. واتفقنا ان في some types of plants they are unable to get or fix atmospheric nitrogen from the air, so they depend on other types of bacteria to fix atmospheric nitrogen زي ما اتفقنا ما بيحصل بين nodular bacteria leguminous plants. Question number 11 بيقول لي Earth's axis tilt at an angle of 23.5 from the imaginary perpendicular line to its orbit around the sun, so this is totally right. Question number 12. In total eclipse, the full moon appears as a dark disk because no sunlight reaches it. True. عشان كده المون بيظهر في الفيز دي as a red disk at the area of the umbra or the shadow dark area of the Earth. Let's transfer to another type of question in write the scientific term. In question number 1, you are asked the sum of the number of the protons and the neutrons which compose the nucleus of an atom. You have to remember that this is the definition of the mass number. Question number 2, you're asked about the number of the unpaired electrons in its lowest structure. And this is the valency of the element. Question number 3 tells you the substance is composed of 2 or more materials that are not chemically combined. And this is the mixture. لكن لو كان قال لي chemically combined أو chemically bonded على طول هتروح على البارت بتاع الكومباوندز. The type of combination in a sodium chloride molecule زي ما اتفقنا إنه this is an ionic bonding. Question number 5, you're asked about the scientific term that describes the region of space around the electric charge in which its influence appears without contact. وزي ما افتكرنا إنه area around the magnet in which the magnetic force appears and acts on any magnetic material بنسميها the electric field. Because here you are asked about the electric charge, not the magnetic charge. Question number 6, the space around the magnetic and affects magnetic materials placed in it. This is the magnetic field. يبقى لو بنتكلم عن المagnet والمagnetism أو المagnet's two poles, area around that magnet اسمها magnetic field. لكن لو بنتكلم عن electric charge والelectric current, area around in which the electric current appears أو electric effect appears, this is known by the electric field. Question number 7 tells you the force that pulls all objects downwards towards the center of the earth. على طول نفتكر the gravitational force. Question number 8, organisms consist of a single unspecialized cells. These are known by the unicellular organisms لأن the whole body, الجسم كله بتاع living organism of a unicellular organism, it acts as a single cell. يبقى single cell بتقدر تعمل كل ال vital processes of the whole organism. Question number 9 tells you process occurs in the mitochondria found in eukaryotic cells. على طول نفتكر cellular respiration. Question number 10, the substances which is used to kill bacteria that cause some diseases like diphtheria and tonsillitis, نفتكر ال penicillium, which is the suitable antibiotic. Question number 11, you're asked about the phenomena that the sun appears in the sky throughout the day or the year of its position shifting from the east to west. على طول نفتكر ال phenomena of the apparent motion of the sun. Question number 12 tells you the region from where there is opaque object in the path of the light rays. This is the shadow. يبقى when the shadow is formed, when light is blocked by any opaque material. Let's start a new type of questions about give reason for. Question number 1 بيقول لنا the nucleus of the atom is positively charged. خلينا نراجع كده سريعا الجزئية دي عن الatomic structure. When we said that for any atom it has a basic structure, a central part or a central dense mass at the middle of the atom, which is known by the nucleus. فيها two types of charged subatomic particles, protons and neutrons. وsummation protons and neutrons give you what's known by the mass number. لكن عندنا another type of charged particles واللي هي negatively charged particles سميناها electrons, بتلف في energy levels حوالين الcentral part اللي هو النيوكليوس in a fixed way. دايما electrons they have a negative charge and they revolve around the nucleus in the energy levels. نرجع نفتكر مع بعض ان كل energy level it has a certain number of electrons that could held or could carry. In the first energy level بتاخد 2 electrons بس، في تاني energy level 8, and by applying the rule 2n square بنقدر نحدد how many electrons will be held by each of the energy levels. هنا السؤال بيقول لي the nucleus of the atom is positively charged. لما قلنا ان inside the nucleus عندنا both of the protons and neutrons. طيب النيوترونز دي it has a neutral charge. يعني ايه neutral charge؟ يعني zero charge. لكن البروتونز they are positively charged. فطالما انا عندي neutrons existing into the nucleus they have no charge، وبالتالي الشارج كلها هتروح للبروتونز اللي هي positively charged، والشارج بتاعت النيوكليوس هتكون positively charged. لكن في سؤال تاني بيجي يقول لي why the atom is electrically neutral. مختلف تماما بقى عن الجزئية دي. لما يجي يقول لي ان الاتوم is electrically neutral هقوله because it has equal number of electrons and protons. يبقى نميز قوي في السؤال واحنا بنقرا هو عايز ايه عشان نقدر نحدد which answer is suitable for this part. طيب let's start checking the answer. يبقى because the nucleus contains positively charged protons and neutrally charged neutrons. والneutrally charged neutrons دي it doesn't affect لأن الcharge بتاعتها equals 0. يبقى التوتال أو الأوفرول تشارج of the nucleus هتروح لمين؟ هتروح للبروتونز. Let's transfer to another question, which is give reason why the physical properties is different from one element to another. ده هيرجع لأن elements have differences between them, such as the melting point, the boiling point, the electrical conductivity, being malleable, being ductile, good conductors of heat and electricity. كل ال physical properties دي هي اللي بتقدر تحدد ال element ده metal ولا non-metal. Question number 3 tells you the mass of the atom is concentrated in its nucleus. نرجع سريعا نرسم النيوكليس اللي كنا راسمينها لسه من شويه لما قلنا ان البروتونز والنيوترونز existing into the nucleus of an atom while the electrons rotate around. التشارج بتاعت الالكترونز negatively charged والالكترونز mass is very neglected. يعني ايه very neglected؟ يعني كأني حاطه dot كده on the screen, on an empty screen. It exists but it doesn't affect on the space I have. يبقى الماس بتاعت الاتوم احنا هنشيل منها تماما الماس بتاعت الالكترونز لان their mass is very neglected, very tiny, very small, so they will never affect on the total mass of the atom. يبقى طب لما نيجي نحب نحسب الماس of the atom هنعمل ايه؟ هنعمل add وcount لي particles existing into the nucleus, which is adding both of the protons to the neutrons inside the nucleus of an atom. يبقى the correct answer will be because the mass of the electrons is ايه؟ neglected. يعني ايه neglected؟ يعني doesn't affect. هي موجودة. البارتيكل as it is هو it exists بس هل يا ترى does it affect on the total mass of the atom؟ لا، لأن الماس بتاعته very neglected. So the mass of the electrons is neglected in calculations compared to the mass of the protons and the neutrons. Next question, you're asked to give reason for all the objects fall down to the earth وده هيرجع لي effect of the gravity. Question number 5 بيقول لنا the weight of the body on the surface of the earth is greater than the weight of the body on the surface of the moon. The earth and moon, both of them are dark planets where an amount of gravity exists on their surfaces. لكن طبعا according to the size or the mass of the planet, the gravitational force on the surface of the earth is much more bigger than the gravity on the surface of the moon. طب لو احنا عايزين نعرف ال object's weight على ال surface of earth هنعمل ايه؟ اتفقنا ان في عندنا calculations بنقدر نستخدمها to get the weight of an object on the surface of the earth by knowing its mass in kilograms. بناخد الماس نعمل لها multiply 10 اللي هي gravitational field intensity أو gravitational field strength بتاع ال Earth planet وبالتالي نقدر نحسب الويت بتاع الأوبجكت على ال surface of the earth. طب هل يا ترى كمية الويت أو الويت of the object will be the same if it travels on the surface of the moon؟ لا. لو الأوبجكت بتاعي الويت بتاعه على surface of the earth is 6 newtons هلاقي إنه قل 6 times على surface of the moon علشان يكون 1. ف 1 to 6 هي دي ratio between the weight on the surface of the moon to the earth. فلو أنا دلوقتي السؤال عندي بيقول لي the weight of the body on the surface of the earth is greater than the weight of the body on the surface of the moon. طب ده هيرجع لإيه؟ هيرجع للattraction force of the earth. كمية الجرافيتي على surface of the earth is much more bigger than the attraction force on the moon. هنا بقى في سؤال إيه هنستخدم فيه الكالكوليشن اللي أنا قلت لكم عليها من شوية اللي هي ال 1 to 6. هنا بيقول لي the mass of an object is equal to 120 kilograms on the earth's surface. calculate. يبقى هنا المعلومة الجيفن اللي هو مديها لي ايه؟ بيقول لي ان الماس بتاعت الاوبجكت على الارث is 120 كيلوغرام. طب انت عايز ايه؟ هو عايز الماس on the moon. طب هل يا ترى الماس دي constant ولا variable؟ دي constant value يعني it never changes. لو الماس بتاعي في اي حتة it stays the same. On the surface of the moon, on the surface of the earth, on the top of the mountain, down deeper into the ground, it stays the same. لأن هي constant value. يبقى أول حاجة أنا عايز أحسب الماس on the surface of the moon, so it stays the same. يبقى الماس on the moon is equal to the mass on the surface of the earth, which is equal to 120 kilograms. هنا بقى بيقول لي إيه؟ calculate the weight on the earth. زي ما اتفقنا إن في calculation عندنا بتقول لي to get the weight of an object in Newton, take the mass in kilogram by 10 اللي هي gravitational field intensity on the surface of the earth. يبقى ال weight on the earth equals the mass on earth by 10 يعني هاخد ال 120 اللي هي ال given value already in the problem multiply 10 which is 1200 نيوتن. طيب هنا بقى عايز يحسب ال weight on the surface of the moon. طب هل يا ترى ال weight on the moon will be the same as the weight on the earth؟ الكلام ده مش مظبوط، ما ينفعش. ليه؟ لأن amount of gravity on the surface of the earth it's totally different on the surface of the moon. طب نقدر نقيمها ازاي؟ زي ما اتفقنا انه في relation لو انا عندي ال weight بتاع الأوبجكت على ال earth 6 نيوتن فهيقل 6 times على ال surface of the moon. يبقى أنا هعمل على طول multiply 1/6 من ال value بتاعة all ال weight on the surface of the earth. يبقى هاخد ال 1200 نيوتن اللي أنا جبتهم هنا من الكالكوليشن بتاعتي which is the weight on the surface of the earth وأعمل لها multiply 1/6. 1/6 يعني 1/6 اللي هي relation between the weight of the moon and the weight on the surface of the earth. يبقى ال value بتاعتي will be 200 نيوتن. تعالوا نعمل مع بعض wrap up على main points covered throughout today's session. احنا رجعنا على ال main parts of the atomic structure including the protons, the mass number, the atomic number, ال electrons, ال mass number و ال charges of each one of these subatomic particles. رجعنا مع بعض على some of the names of bacteria that causes diseases زي السالمونيلا تايفي وعملنا differentiation بين اليوكاريوتس والبروكاريوتس من حيث الجيناتيك ماتيريال suspended في السيتوبلازم ولا enclosed within a true nucleus. رجعنا مع بعض الفينومينا بتاعة اللونر eclipse وعرفنا ازاي نقدر نحسب الويت والماس of any object on the surface of the earth and on the surface of the moon by knowing الكالكوليشنز اللي اتدربنا عليها. ذاكروا كويس واشوفكم في الحلقة الجاية. باي باي.